In the first part of this lesson, we'll deal with quantitative versus categorical, which is how we specify certain types of data. So we're going to classify categorical and quantitative. A quantitative variable measures numerical characteristics such as height. So when we talk about a range of numbers, categorical is when you have different groups that you're separating things into, such as gender is that example. So for this first example, it says how many hours you have slept in the last 24 hours. So we're talking about some numerical characteristics, so that would be quantitative. How many states you have visited, that's also dealing with a numerical characteristic, so that would also be quantitative. And the third one here, handedness, so which hand that you write with, so left-handed versus right-handed, we are grouping people into different places, so that would be categorical. The day of the week on which you were born, so that would be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so that's also putting people into groups, so that would also be categorical, into categories, if you will. Gender was the example that was up in the definition, so that would be categorical. Average study time per week, so again we're talking about numerical characteristics, so that would be quantitative. And the last one, score on the first exam in this course, that's also numerical in nature, so that would be quantitative. And the last thing here talks about mean, median, mode, and range, which I'm pretty sure you're probably familiar with from previous math classes. So the mean is the average, where you would add up your data and divide by how many data points you have. Maybe what's new would be what we have here when we talk about X bar. X bar represents the average, and that's just a different notation that maybe you haven't seen before. So it's an X with a bar over top of it, simply said, X bar. And then you have the median, which is the middle number in an ordered data set. So the key here is the fact that the numbers have to be ordered from least to greatest or greatest to least. Typically we do least to greatest. The mode is the value that appears the most. Sometimes it's called bimodal if one number appears twice. So bimodal, again, so if the value appears twice. And the range, highest minus the lowest, would be the range of the data. In this final example, we're going to, without guessing and checking, we're going to use some algebra to figure out different scores that, in this case, Lauren will need to earn to get a 90% overall. So here we have Lauren scored an 86, 92, 88, 95, 90, and an 83 on her last 6 tests. What would she need to earn on her 7th test to have at least a 90% overall? So what I did here was I listed out all of her grades and added them together that she currently has, the 6 grades, and I added on this 7th test, which is unknown, so I left it as X. And since we're finding an average, I added them all together, and I divided by 7 because with this included last one, it now makes 7 tests. And we want the score to be greater than or equal to 90, at least a 90. So in this step that I have underneath, the 535 was when I added all my scores together, plus X divided by 7. I'm going to multiply, cross multiply, so I'll have 534 plus X is greater than or equal to 630. That was 7 times 90. And I'm going to subtract 534 from 630, and you end up with 96. So Lauren will have to earn at least a 96% on her 7th test to get a 90% overall.